We got 6 people waiting today. That's a new record. We love it. Welcome. I'm going to be talking about kettlebell solo today. What is kettlebell solo? If you have a guess or if you know what kettlebell solo is, tell me in the comments. Let me know one sentence. What is kettlebell solo? Or take a wild guess if you don't know. Take a wild guess. Make sure that we're happening and we're live here. I always, when I go live, I'm like, is anyone really watching? Is this on? Is it working? Okay, it looks like we're working. Okay, so we're going to get into it. Thank you guys for joining me to learn more about kettlebell solo. If you don't know me, my name is Brittany, also known as KB Fit Britt on the interwebs. And I started teaching kettlebell solo about 4 years ago. So I've been doing kettlebells since 2011, so going on 14 years. That's kind of, I'm like, did I get that right? Yeah, that's kind of mind-blowing to me. And I used to do kettlebell sport. I've done hard style, I've done juggling, I've done kettlebell partner passing. I've done all the different types of kettlebell training that are out there. This kettlebell solo is the style of kettlebell training I am most passionate about teaching people, and I'm going to tell you why in this little presentation today. And I'm excited that you guys are here to learn more about it. So I did not actually come up with kettlebell solo. I am not the brilliant person behind that. That's my partner, Michael. So he actually is the creator and founder of kettlebell partner passing and kettlebell solo. Kettlebell solo is actually designed initially to teach people and to get people prepared for kettlebell partner passing before they ever pass a kettlebell, getting their bodies prepared to be able to do that in the future. So it's kind of the basics that get you ready to do more complex things. So I learned about kettlebell solo from Michael at a time when I was kind of burned out on kettlebell training. You know, I had really overtrained myself, pushed myself really hard with kettlebell competitions, and I honestly was kind of ready to give up on kettlebells. I thought, I don't want to train this way anymore. I don't feel good coaching other people to train this way because while it has some benefits, I don't believe it's the healthiest way to train. And so when I was introduced to kettlebell solo through Michael, I was like, this is brilliant. This is simple, it's low tech, but you get an incredible workout and you get all the benefits of kettlebell training without these highly technical moves like snatches and cleans and jerk that can take many years to master, and some people don't have an interest in mastering. So that's how I came to kettlebell solo, and I get to be the lucky person who teaches all of our classes and programs, and kettlebell solo has kind of expanded from what it started out as we've created a lot of different programs and classes around it, but the principles and the exercises in the program have remained the same. So today I'll be telling you about what is kettlebell solo, why you might want to try it, who it's for, the benefits, and how it's dramatically changed my life. I'm going to share a little bit of that at the end when I talk about what it is. I'm going to share why I'm passionate about teaching it, how it changed my life more specifically. I'm kind of build on what I just told you, but tell you some of the shifts I saw from starting to train this way as opposed to all the different modalities that I've done in the past. So, all right, no one has a guess as to what kettlebell solo is. Does anyone want to say hi in the comments? Let me know you're here. Say hi in the chat so I know I'm not alone and it's not just web browsers that are open. Let me know if you're watching in the comments. Okay, so kettlebell solo is a foundational system of kettlebell training that builds strength, fitness, and body awareness. And we offer safe, gentle, and effective kettlebell classes and programs that give you just the right amount of stimulus without overdoing it. So that's a big focus of what we teach. Hi, thanks for saying hi, Dog Rescuer 1. Thanks for being here. So one of the biggest philosophies within kettlebell solo is the principle of less is more. You've seen me talk about this if you watch any of my other lives, shorts, videos that I do on social media, is that there's a lot of push to get people to push harder. And our message for you is that you actually don't need as much exercise as you think. It's more important that you're consistent and that less is more. More is not always more. getting the minimum effective dose and then taking care of your recovery, taking care of your nutrition, your hydration, your inner health, your mental and emotional health. Those things are all going to tie in together with a balanced amount of exercise. Hi, Kelly. Kelly is rocking a kettle corn shirt right now too. We're wearing the same shirts. We're twinning today. If you guys want to get your kettle corn shirt, I'll drop the link in the description later, or if you want the link, let me know in the comments. I'll drop it in the comments. Okay, so with Kettlebell Solo, the way that we deliver the classes and programs that we offer is through a membership. So we have a membership site, it's kettlebellsolo.com, and we offer different classes, programs, challenges, tutorials, and a members-only community within that membership. So we actually do like yearly programming, so we plan out the year for our students, and we have programs that focus on different aspects of fitness, using kettlebells. Some of them are more focused on mobility, so they're more body weight based, but most of our classes incorporate kettlebells and use them to help you build your strength, build your cardiovascular health, build your conditioning, build your mobility, build your flexibility, build your balance, your coordination, your unilateral strength, lots of different things that we incorporate. And the idea is that you're not always training the same thing, so that you're balanced. Again, I think if we focus too much on strength, say, again, going back to kind of this less is more principle, if we're always pushing our strength month after month after month, it can be hard to get this, the recovery you need, and it's kind of like you're trying to push for this linear progress, which really is impossible. We need kind of some undulation, and we need to work on our strength, and then we need to take a break from that. We need to work maybe on our mobility, and then we can come back to our strength later and still have maintained that strength through some of the other training we're doing, and then be refreshed in order to continue building that strength over time. It's a more sustainable way to do it. It reduces the risk of burnout and injury, getting demotivated or getting bored of your training. So you are, still having enough variety that keeps you interested, keeps it fun, while, our programs generally are going to be between, 4 and 6 weeks long. So you're getting a concentrated amount of time where you are focusing on a specific aspect of your fitness. So let's see, I covered, while we focus on less is more, and we focus generally on lower intensity and lower impact exercise. First of all, because many of our students are over 40 and actually most of them over 50, it's really important to just stay consistent and maintain that strength as you age. And anybody who's over the age of 30 knows that you can't, I'm 33. Anyone who's over the age of 30 knows that when you're in your 20s, you can get away with all kinds of things and probably still make progress. You can probably go out and party all night and drink alcohol and then still work out the next day and feel good. But as you get older, you start to realize the importance of moderation, of consistency over time, of taking good care of this vessel, which is the only one you'll ever get. And when you damage it, that's something that you have to live with. And hopefully you live a long life, and you want to be able to feel good through that long life. So we focus on classes that are lower impact and lower intensity. Now, sometimes we do offer a good challenge. Some of our programs and classes are a little bit more high intensity, but we operate under the principle that 90% of the time, your workout should be easy to moderately hard. And then maybe 5 to 10% of the time, you're pushing yourself and challenging yourself. So a lot of our classes are rated like an easy or moderate level because, to reiterate another live I've done, you don't need to suffer to see results. And in fact, you're more likely to stay consistent and get the results you want with a sustainable program, something you enjoy. You don't have to summon up all your willpower to do it. You don't have to suffer through it and go, oh God, I'm sore for 5 days. Like, we don't do any of that. With our classes, ideally, you're either not sore or you're a little bit sore. And after a day or two, you're recovered so you can do your next workout. Thanks for stopping in and saying hi from Poland. Feel free to join us again another time. Yes, so consistency. I'm going to say that word a lot of times because it's important. Let me know in the comments if you've usually done high intensity training or if you've done lower intensity training. Let me know in the comments if you have kind of like you've done more of one or the other. I can tell you that I used to do a lot of high intensity training where I was pushing myself to the brink and suffering a lot because I thought the more I suffered, the better the result on all levels, but whether that be, what I look like or my skills or my strength or my fitness. Now, unfortunately, that's not true, and so I learned that the hard way by burning out and experiencing experiencing some hormonal damage, some large amounts of fatigue. Again, like I said, I burned out on kettlebells, so going too far with intensity or volume or anything that you're doing with, anything in life, but we're talking about exercise specifically, is not the moderation you want. You want to find a balance. And so having a balance of intensity is important too. And you can get healthy in a number of different ways, and they don't have to be very intense. And in fact, if it's too intense, it's not sustainable. Well, Dog Rescuer 1, I'm glad that you've had that you've been doing some low intensity as well, and it's not just all been high intensity. That's good. It's good to have a little bit of challenge now and then. That's important for us as well, but I think we've kind of gone overkill on that within the fitness world. Okay, so next we're going to talk about why train the kettlebell solo way. So kettlebell solo is great for beginners. So it's a type of kettlebell training that anybody could grab a kettlebell and join in. Now, if you have watched other types of kettlebell training or kettlebell instructional videos, if you watch kettlebell sport, hardstyle, a lot of those movements are pretty technical. So you wouldn't really want to ask your grandma or your sister or somebody who has never lifted kettlebells before to just grab a kettlebell and join me. We're doing cleans and snatches. That's not how that works. You need training, you need to learn the exercise, you need to progressively build up over time. And that's something that both Michael and I have been lifting kettlebells for a long time. We've been in the kettlebell world a long time. And one of the barriers to entry for people using kettlebells, for students, is it's intimidating. Some of the moves are intimidating. Coming from, if you have no weightlifting background, little exercise background, you might look at some of these common kettlebell moves, snatches, cleans, Turkish get-ups, and you think, oh my God, like that looks so hard, I don't know how to do that. Maybe you're concerned about how long it'll take to learn, and some people love learning it. So if you love learning it, that's great, that's awesome, do it. And there's some people who don't necessarily want to spend that time. So our system is designed that a beginner could grab a light kettlebell and do the kettlebell solo classes and get benefit from it, have fun, feel successful, and there's no high-tech moves involved. So that's a great thing because people can get started right away and start receiving the benefits of kettlebells without having to spend a ton of time on technique. And, this is a functional way of training. Kettlebell training's often, very full body, very functional, and it doesn't beat up your body because a lot of the training that we do in kettlebell solo, we encourage you, especially for the first 4 to 6 months when you start, to use a light kettlebell. And by light, I mean somewhere between 5 and 20 pounds. It depends on, the fitness level someone's coming in at, but even if somebody's very fit, a lot of the moves we do are different, as I mentioned, from other types of kettlebell training, and we use a variety of stances, tempos, progressions of different exercises that are going to be challenging because they're unique to solo. So we do encourage a light weight. The postures themselves offer challenge without even adding a weight. So adding the light weight is just kind of like an extra bonus, and you don't have to go up a lot when you do go up. So you might go just from 5 to 8 pounds and you'll be like, whoa, it's way harder with 8 pounds than it was with 5. So the benefit of that is that light weights are a lot easier on your joints. Look, I have done a lot of heavy lifting. I love heavy lifting. I love doing it. But I can't do it all the time because it's hard for me to recover from. It's tougher for my nervous system to recover from, so I can't lift heavy a lot. That's just for me personally. Maybe some people out there that feel good doing it, but in my experience, lifting heavy frequently can be exhausting and taxing on the system. And as we get older, we kind of have to measure our energy a little bit more. And it's important to lift light more regularly, and similar with the intensity piece that I talked about. If you're lifting intensely or heavily, substitute that for heavily all the time, that can be too much for the body, versus if you're doing a lot of lower intensity or you're lifting with a light kettlebell a lot, you're still fortifying your strength, you're fortifying your fitness, but it's less taxing on the body, it's easier to recover from, and it's less taxing on your joints. So I love to lift heavy, like I said, but I feel much better when I lift light more often. And I still get a lot of benefit because as you increase your mind-body connection, your mind-muscle connection, you're still going to be able to activate your muscles well with a light weight. In fact, sometimes I contract my muscles better with a light weight than I do with a heavier weight. I think some of that has to do with like efficiency, that your body with a heavier weight, you know, it's like, okay, if we contract too hard with this weight, it's going to be too difficult. With a lighter weight, it's like, okay, it's a light weight. I can really focus on like feeling my muscles and getting in tune with my body during this exercise. I went a little long-winded on that. Sorry, I just excited. So get into a bit of a tangent. So as I mentioned, you only need one light kettlebell to start. So we did this on purpose when we designed Kettlebell Solo. When we designed this membership is, hey, you don't need a lot to get started. We know kettlebells are a bit expensive as far as a fitness tool goes. Some, you know, competition kettlebells can cost over $100, and that is a lot for some people. The good news is you only need one to get started. And again, like I said, you could keep progressing for 4 to 6 months with the type of training we do with just one light kettlebell. So that reduces that cost that you need of having like tons of different weights of kettlebells. Craig just asked, when should you change the weight to bulk? You know, we don't teach bulking. It's not a part of our program. For Kettlebell Solo, we are helping people with a sustainable program that helps them improve strength, fitness, and body awareness for the long haul and improving their balance and coordination and their longevity so that they can stay healthy as they age. For bulking, if you want to do bulk, like you probably want to follow like a bodybuilding type program and eat a ton of food. But that's not really something that we offer inside the Kettlebell Solo membership. Okay, so kettlebell classes and programs, as I mentioned, are sustainable and anyone can jump in. All you need is a light kettlebell and you can try the class. Real lasting results come from consistency over time. So this is a principle I mention over and over again, and we talk about it all the time in Solo because consistency over intensity every day of the week. Most people want to see results from their workout program in, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks. They want to shred in 12 weeks. The magic starts to happen when you look at years, 1 year, 2 year. When you make the changes that change your lifestyle and you're able to stay consistent with that over time, that's where the magic happens. Because anybody, you can do like a 12-week shred program and like, okay, I'm going to muscle up all my willpower to do this and I can do this and it's exhausting me, but I can do it. It's only 12 weeks. I can do it. I got it. And you're doing things that are completely unrealistic for you to continue long-term. That's not, like, it may get you a certain result at the end of the 12 weeks, but if it's not sustainable, you just will not keep the result because you're going to go back to what's actually sustainable for you. So ideally, you're figuring out a way to train that you could see yourself doing for the next 5 years, for the next 10 years, like it's realistic for you. You enjoy it, and it doesn't feel like too much. You don't have to muster up your willpower. That's how you get to a healthier lifestyle. You're ready to make a lifestyle change, you're ready to commit for the long term, and you realize it takes consistency over time, being honest and realistic with yourself about what you can be consistent with. Okay, so staying consistent over time is also going to prevent you from burning out, getting an injury, having to really motivate yourself. Ideally, if people are like, how do I get motivated to exercise? Well, maybe you need something to start you, right? Like something to get you started. But if you look for motivation every time, you got to exercise, whether that's daily or a few times a week, that's going to be hard to keep going. You got to set habits. You got to set habits that keep you going. And again, sustainability in a training program is key, and I cannot stress it enough. And that's what we offer with Kettlebell Solo, is sustainable kettlebell training. We believe that working out should be fun, pain-free, and add to your life, add to your energy reserves so you can enjoy your life and do the things you want to do. So we offer training to live, not living to train. So if you're looking for a program that is all-consuming and you got to sacrifice everything else in your life to do it and you're going to be exhausted and sore for other things in your life, this is not the program for you. If you're looking for that, there's plenty of other places where they offer that. What we offer is a program that's sustainable, doesn't deplete your energy, and is going to help you feel better and more confident in your life. You're going to have, the strength, the body awareness that you want to improve with whatever things you're doing in your life. Be that, gardening, be that just doing things around the house, be that playing with your grandchildren or your children. Those are the things that we offer through Kettlebell Solo because we think that is what's most important, is training to live. Thanks for joining, Fran. So glad you found Kettlebell Solo as well. You can check out the replay later. Craig, you can sign up by going to kettlebellsolo.com. I'm going to leave the link for you guys later, but you can check it out here. We also have a bunch of free classes on our YouTube channel, so you can go over there and check it out. Okay, so who is Kettlebell Solo for? Because I was just telling you who it's not for and who it's for, so we'll continue on that thread. It's accessible to anybody who is cleared by their doctor to exercise and has one light kettlebell available to them. So we have students on our website that range from, in their 20s to in their 80s. So there's people of all ages that are lifting kettlebells with us and benefiting from our programs. I believe our oldest member is 82 years old. She is doing our classes and programs. She's gained strength, flexibility, balance, and coordination. So we have people of all ages. So it's really for anybody who's got a light kettlebell and is cleared by their doctor. It's especially beneficial for people who are complete beginners to kettlebell training. So if you're a complete beginner, this is the best way to start. Even if you want to do kettlebell sport, kettlebell hardstyle, juggling, kettlebell partner passing, whatever you want to do with kettlebells, like I told you, I've tried everything. I've done everything with kettlebells. I wish that I had started with this because this is a great foundational way to start. If you want to do flow, we teach you how to step with the kettlebell. So this is the best foundation. If you want to do the more complex stuff, you can absolutely do that later, but it's best to set a really solid foundation so that you can, be consistent over time. Okay, let's talk about the benefits or what results that you can expect from Kettlebell Solo. And I'm also going to drop a link in the comments to our student testimonials because I think our students can say it better than we can. So I'll drop that in the chat here. Craig's question, what's considered light? I'm 6'4", 205 and have 20 pound, 35 pound, 52 pound. Craig, 20 pounds may work. It may be a little bit heavy. It kind of depends on your strength level and whether you've been training or not. What you could do, what I recommend, is go to our YouTube channel, the Solo YouTube channel, which is my other channel, and we have classes there. Try out some of the moves, see how your 20-pound kettlebell feels for those moves. If it feels okay, it feels doable, like feels pretty easy, then I would say you're good. If it feels like pretty challenging and it's whipping your butt, you may want to get a 10-pound kettlebell. I think it's, even the difference for men and women isn't necessarily that big because the moves challenge you in different ways because, again, there's different stances. There's some different exercises like shin circles, thigh rainbows, things like that you may not have done before, and those lend themselves better to a lighter weight. Okay, back to our benefits and what results you can expect from Kettlebell Solo. So you can expect increased strength and muscle tone, weight loss, fat loss, improved mind-body connection, reduce pain, improve function in your daily life, increased energy, get a great workout in a short amount of time from home. All you do is you select a video and you press play and you follow along with me. It's all you do, super easy. You feel safe lifting kettlebells. This is key because oftentimes when people start out with complex movement like swings and cleans, they may not feel safe doing it for a good reason. It's not a beginner exercise. So these are all exercises that you will feel safe doing. They were simple, low tech, and fun. Also strength, you'll gain strength and cardiovascular fitness that are going to carry over to other physical activities that you do, improved sleep. Now, people always want to know the timeline of benefits or results, and that, of course, is tough to give you an exact timeline because it also depends on other factors in your life because you're going to feel better and notice results faster if, big one, nutrition is in line, if your sleep's in line, your hydration's in line, and you don't have really high stress levels, and you're staying consistent over time. But again, as I mentioned before, it's more important to measure your consistency in years, not months or weeks. So if you're thinking that you're going to just, spend the next 4 or 8 weeks to get your body where you want it to go and then you're good, That's not an approach to making meaningful change in your life. You got to approach this like, how can I, set myself up for success for the next 5-10 years? How can I set myself up for the next year? And give yourself 6 months, give yourself a year. Now, you may notice a lot of these benefits before you even get close to 6 months. You may, or you may not. It also depends on the person. Genetics are going to play a role there. So how quickly you're going to see results really depends. Now, one thing I can say is that if you're consistent for at least a month, even if it's just 1 or 2 times a week, you're going to feel better. Number one, that's one of the things you're going to feel better. And feeling better, feeling healthier, feeling like you're moving in a direction that you want to go with regards to your health, your strength, your fitness, that is more important than any aesthetic result, because the outside, your physical shape will change into something more that you enjoy more as you become healthy from the inside out. And that's not just physical. So, in Kettlebell Solo, we also talk about, having gratitude for what your body does for you. We talk about emotional, spiritual health. Those things are very, very important as well. And that, true strength is not in how much weight you can lift, but it's your ability to, weather the difficult things in life. It's your ability to be there for loved ones. It's your ability to take care of the people you love. It's your ability to, hold space for someone who's going through a hard time. Like, that's the true strength in life. And ideally, your physical training supports that. Your physical training allows you to be better at that, whether it's to provide the physical health to have that capacity, or it's providing the ability to focus and be present with yourself and therefore with other people, and that allows you to better, support the loved ones in your life. So that's really one of our missions, to help you, be stronger in the true sense of the word internally through a physical practice, which is more than a physical practice, but often seen as a physical practice. Okay, so I promised I was going to talk a little bit about my story and why I'm so passionate about teaching Kettlebell Solo. So I'm going to talk about that now. So as some of you know, if you've followed me for a while, I used to compete professionally in kettlebell sport for many years. I used to teach seminars all over the world. I'm a kettlebell partner passing instructor. I worked at a kettlebell-specific gym for years, teaching all types of different kettlebell and fitness classes. I'm certified in kettlebell hardstyle. I've juggled. I've taught kettlebell flow. I've really dabbled with every kettlebell style out there. Kettlebell Solo is the most accessible, functional, foundational way that I've found to train with kettlebells. And here's why. There's no advanced technique. Anyone can do it. We train different stances. We train different ranges of motion. So as I mentioned, that makes it very functional. We do slow tempo work. That's something I didn't do when I set my foundation of strength training. Is really important. Also, isometric training work, also really important to fortify your body and kind of fill in the gaps that you don't get from regular training. Improving your mind-muscle connection and your mobility, doing slow tempo work and isometrics in your strength training already helps you to improve that mobility, helps you to improve that mind-muscle connection. I can tell you, I did deadlifts for years without really knowing how to do it until I started doing Kettlebell Solo, started doing slow tempo deadlifts with a light kettlebell. I suddenly understood how to use my glute muscles. For years, I had lifted heavy deadlifts with barbells. I didn't really know how to do it. I had never set a solid foundation, and so I had to kind of regress and relearn how to do it. Now, the goal through Kettlebell Solo is helping people do that right off the bat. Hi, Jason. Thanks for saying hi. You're welcome, Craig. Thanks for that. So, Kettlebell Solo also, it teaches you how to move with the kettlebell and how to let the kettlebell move you. And this is something that's key. If you see people doing like flowing with the kettlebell, this is actually the first step to flowing with the kettlebell that many people miss. It's called footwork. It teaches you how to be in sync with the kettlebell in a really basic way. So we do around the body handoffs with stepping. It's technically, it's like the most technical move that we do in Kettlebell Solo. It's not very technical. It's just a practice of the timing. It's a great way to work your right and left brain also. But this helps you, get in sync and learn how to move with the kettlebell and let it move you, both of which are important for flowing and for something like kettlebell partner passing, which is a big reason why they're in the program. As I mentioned, kettlebell solo is a preparatory program for kettlebell partner passing. So there's lots of things in solo that are mirrored when you get to kettlebell partner passing and freestyle kettlebell partner passing. If you don't know what that is, you should go look it up on Instagram. There's some cool videos. Kettlebell solo also has a ton of carryover to everyday life, other styles of kettlebell training, other sports and physical activities. So it's a great preparation for anything else you want to do physically. Any other style of kettlebell training you want to do, kettlebell solo is underneath that. It's a foundation to prepare you from underneath that. Hi, Steve. Thanks for joining from the UK. Steve just asked, I prefer kettlebells because they're functional, just started training. Is one set of 20 reps each exercise okay? There's 3 times 10 better. You know, I don't have an opinion on what exact rep scheme is best. Besides that, I think quality reps are more important than quantity. So I would say really focusing in on, you know, playing with different tempos in your lifts, playing with increasing your connection to the muscles that you're working, whether you can better do that with 10 or 20. I don't know, it's up to you. Yeah, I think you could do either of those, really. I don't have a preference for either. We don't do a ton of 20 rep stuff. We do have an endurance program where we focus on strength endurance, that we do some higher rep stuff, but generally we're more in the range of 5 to 10 for a lot of things that we do. Again, it also depends what your goal is with your training. What are you trying to train? Are you trying to train strength endurance? Are you trying to train strength? You know, you're just work your cardio, just work your joint health. You know, depends on what you're working on, but you could likely do it either way. Okay, so a little bit more on my story, right? So kettlebell solo, I think the biggest reason why kettlebell solo changed my life is that it changed my approach to training. So I really used to believe that I had to suffer in order to get results from training. There was also a level of me using exercise to avoid my emotions. So it was something that I did to, you know, kind of stuff my emotions down, or something to take my mind off of things, which, you know, has its pros and cons. Exercise can be a useful coping mechanism, but if it's your only coping mechanism, it's not healthy. So it really changed my approach, because I was lifting, you know, when I was competing in kettlebell sport, I was lifting 2 24 kg or 53 pound kettlebells for 10 minutes without setting the kettlebells down. So very, very heavy weight. And I was doing lots of other advanced training with gymnastic strength, with handstands. I was trying to do a one-arm handstand. I was doing a lot of stuff that was very, very heavy on the body. I had a lot of very lofty goals. And as I mentioned, this burned me out. I would definitely say that I struggle with exercise addiction and feeling like exercise will solve all of my problems. Some people out there might be able to relate. It can solve many problems, but not all of them. And what really changed for me was when I was asked why. Why do I push myself so hard? Why am I exercising so intensely? You know, and I started to kind of look for the deeper reasons underneath that. Why was I doing that? You know, and for me, it fundamentally boiled down to like a feeling of unworthiness, or feeling like I wasn't good enough as I was, and I was using exercise as a means to try to, you know, achieve all these things and prove that I was good enough and lovable and that people would like me more, you know. So that was a huge realization, and it made me understand that I didn't want to continue to exercise in the way that I had been exercising, which was all about suffering, trying to push myself to do the most difficult things possible, to try to get external validation from other people, be it other trainers or my students or people online. I didn't want to continue down that path. And so I had to choose a different way. And part of that was stepping back from exercise, taking a break from exercise. And when I approached it again, and when I learned about kettlebell solo, you know, this was a completely different way of thinking. And I initially, I have to tell you, I did not believe that it would work or give me any results or benefits to train with one light kettlebell. After all the years I had spent training heavy and pushing myself, I thought, this isn't going to do anything for me. But I was willing to give it a try. And thank God I did, because I actually got way better results in every sense of the word from training kettlebell solo and reducing the amount of exercise I was doing than when I was working out 2 to 3 hours a day, 6 days a week. I'm talking like results that you could see. I'm talking my energy. I'm talking just my health overall. Everything was better. My strength, everything was better. So when I started training with kettlebell solo and taking the approach of less is more, focusing on my mind-body connection, learning how to connect to my lower abdomen, I actually was able to go back to some of the advanced handstand skills that I had been doing like 2 years later and hadn't done them at all, and do them better than when I was training all the time and trying to practice them all the time, simply because I had built a better mind-body connection and I actually was doing less exercise, so I was able to recover from it. Because that is key. Your results are only as good as your ability to recover. So if you're doing so much exercise you can't recover, you're not really getting what you think you're getting from it. So kettlebell solo just completely changed my approach and made me realize that I actually get better results when I rest. I actually get better results when I nourish my body. I actually get better results when I listen to the signals my body is sending me. When I'm feeling something's a little off and I just say, you know what, I'm going to stop here. I'm not going to push through it just because I need to finish this workout. I'm going to stop. And then, oh, lo and behold, I don't get an injury or I don't get tweaked because I'm listening to what my body is saying and adjusting accordingly. And that's another thing I didn't mention, but that we really emphasize in solo is learning to read and understand the messages your body is sending you so that you can make the appropriate decisions so you and your body are in harmony. So often we are out of touch with our body and we ignore our body's signals, you know. If you're on a diet, you're like, I feel hungry, but I'm not going to eat. I'm not going to eat. I'm going to wait to eat. You know, we ignore our body's signals and we teach ourselves to avoid, or I'm tired. Well, I got to push through it. I got to go and work a bunch of hours. I got to go work out. I'm going to push through it. I can do it anyway. But unfortunately, that puts us at odds in a relationship with our body, and it generally doesn't lead to health. If you think of any relationship that you have, be it with a person, a pet, an activity, your body, when you force things and you don't listen and you ignore what the signs and signals are sending you, is the relationship going to get better or worse? Generally, you're not going to be in harmony. Generally, there's going to be issues in that relationship or things that don't feel good. So you can imagine if you do that to your body, if you ignore your body's signals, if you force your body, if you push yourself really hard, if you're unkind to your body, you're not going to have a great relationship to it. You're probably not going to like the way it looks. You're not going to like the way you feel in it. You're not going to feel confident. So thinking of how you can learn to be better in harmony with your body, that's a big part of solo, is learning how can we, when we exercise, be in harmony with our body. How can we, through exercise and getting in connection with how our body feels and connecting to different parts of our body, better learn to listen to the messages and to respond appropriately. Because sometimes when you're tired, the simple solution is to rest. That's it. It doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. And sometimes when you're hungry, simple solution is to eat. It doesn't always need to be more complicated than that. But it becomes more complicated when we're out of tune and those signals get wacky. So the more we can do to be present with our bodies and tune in, I think the healthier we become internally, and that reflects on the outside. So that's a huge thing that I've learned from kettlebell solo and take with me. Yeah, my body awareness has really increased in leaps and bounds. I've filled a lot of gaps in my training. As I mentioned to you, I never really knew how to deadlift until I started lifting slower. I really connected to my lower abs. We do a lot of pelvic tilts. It's one of our, one of our most important exercises that teaches us to connect to those lower abdomen, connect to your lower back. That's really important for your body awareness and for just knowing what your pelvis position should be in different exercises that you're doing for your lower back health. And really importantly, the way I train now is more efficient. It doesn't take up all my time. I don't spend all my time training. I have a surplus of time and energy for other things in my life. So again, there's the training to live rather than living to train. And I'm not the only one who has gotten great results from kettlebell solo. Many of our students have gotten great results. And again, I shared the testimonial link there. You can check it out. But many of them, just improvements in how they feel. We had one student who, struggled with asthma, and so she couldn't do a lot of intense types of exercise, but she wanted to improve her cardiovascular health, and so Kettlebell Solo really helped her with that because it's not super intense, it's gentle enough while still allowing you to improve that. There's other members that have just greatly helped them with their activities of daily living, with gardening and feeling strong in their glutes and lower back for gardening. People who, have used it to support their kettlebell sport or other types of kettlebell training or other physical activities. So there's many of our students have gotten great results with Kettlebell Solo. And for many of them, it's been a learning lesson of, hey, I don't need to push myself hard all the time. I can be gentle with myself, and wow, this actually does get results I didn't know it could actually feel so easy. Let me know if you have any questions about anything I talked about Kettlebell Solo. We are starting, let's see, what's today? In about a week and a half, we are starting our 5-week kettlebell strength program inside the membership. So with that, we're going to be working on lower reps and increasing our weight with kettlebells. So that is coming up. You can access a 7-day free trial. If you comment trial below, or you leave a comment on this video later and comment trial, I'll send you the link to sign up for a free trial. You can get 7 days. You can check out, we have 15 plus programs, 120 plus classes. We release new challenges every other month. We have a members only community. There's tutorials. You'll get camaraderie support. We do an onboarding call with new students with the coaches. So we get to know you a little bit. And yeah, the other thing you can do, if you're interested in Kettlebell Solo, you don't want to sign up yet, you don't want to do the trial, you can join our 7-day Kettlebell Jumpstart, which is free. It's just 7 days of different workouts and short workouts, and you'll get a taste of what Kettlebell Solo has to offer you. You just access the classes on YouTube. You have to join the mailing list to get it, and you just get an email every day. It reminds you. Mark, I see you have a question here. I'm 63 years old and started martial arts about 3 years ago. Will this program help me in flexibility, etc.? Absolutely. This program will help you in your flexibility. We actually have a staff mobility program. It uses like a wood staff. It's actually a martial arts staff that we got from a guy named Adam, who creates beautiful staffs. Scrapwood Martial Arts is his business. We use that staff to improve mobility. The program, the kettlebell training is great for martial arts because, as I mentioned, we train in a lot of different stances that a lot of times people train with their feet about hip width apart, and that every kettlebell move is in that stance. We train a lot of different split stances that work your balance and coordination. And the kettlebell training itself already improves mobility, but we also have specific mobility program, and we have what we call our recover classes that improve joint mobility. We also have a class called Flexible in 15 where we work on flexibility. So absolutely it will help with that. Steve said, is Kettlebell Solo good for toning up in a calm and collective manner rather than overdoing it from the outset? Absolutely. I feel like you summarized that very well. It's great for toning your muscles in a calm and collected way. And yeah, we really emphasize not overdoing it. Listening to your body. Everybody's different. It's the hard part about putting out classes and programs. We do our best to make it accessible to everybody, and in different seasons or depending on what you have going on with your body, we do encourage, hey, adjust the reps a little bit if you need, or, you could always swap out, thigh circles for thigh rainbows. You can change some of these things out, make the class work for you with just little tweaks and adjustments here and there to make sure that you're not overdoing it. Yes, Jason, it is a very mindful approach. That's absolutely something that we focus on is mindfulness. And as I mentioned, like that tuning in, connection with your body, listening to your body. Yes, I have done an 88-pound Turkish get-up. I don't really train Turkish get-ups ever anymore. It's not my favorite exercise. It never has been. But I have dabbled with it from time to time. Thank you for subscribing. Any other questions about Kettlebell Solo or kettlebell training? You're welcome, Steve. Thanks for your question. I appreciate it. Okay, I see. Hi, Richard. How do you keep from beating up the back of your arm and performing snatches? Mine hurt all the time. Wrong mechanics. Yes, so it's very likely poor technique and timing. As I mentioned earlier in this live, a snatch is a very technical movement. So what I would say is before you do the snatch, you need to make sure that your swing is correct. If your swing timing and technique is not correct, it's not good to move on to the snatch because it's going to get really difficult to do the timing right. Now, before you do the swing, I would highly recommend doing something like kettlebell solo to fortify your body before doing the more technical movements. That way, if you do them wrong, it's not that big of a deal. You also get more comfortable with handling the kettlebell. Kettlebell solo, we do very few exercises with the kettlebell in the rack position because as kettlebell coaches, we know that one of the biggest complaints is, ow, my forearm hurts. Well, guess what? If we don't do the moves that slam the kettlebell onto your forearm won't hurt. And again, those moves can be good if you like to learn them, if you want to learn them, awesome. But you don't need to do them to get the benefits of kettlebell training. And if you want to know specifically tips on the snatch, somebody else, I'm not sure if it was you, Richard, or someone else requested a snatch tutorial. I could do that in another video and talk about that. But again, ideally your basics and your foundation are really solid before you're even doing ever a swing or a snatch, because it sets you up for success rather than having to kind of undo bad habits along the way. Hi, Mark. If you're asking, I'm assuming you're asking how to subscribe to Kettlebell Solo, because for YouTube, you could go to my profile and subscribe. If you want to check out Kettlebell Solo, it's a membership. It has a monthly and annual. You can check it out. It's got a 7-day free trial. You can also look at my other, I don't think that didn't turn out to be a link. Let me do that again. My other YouTube channel also has free classes, like a sampling of our library that we have inside the membership. So you might want to check that out first and see if you like it before you subscribe. Any other questions about solo or about kettlebell training? Questions about my kettle corn shirt? We also have tank tops, and we also have them in purple. You're welcome, Richard. Yeah, so one of the things I would recommend is like checking out the YouTube channel. If you do want to subscribe to Solo and you have been on the live, send me an email and I can add an extra 7 days to your trial. If you want to get a 14-day free trial, I'll offer that to anybody who's been on the live today. You can email me info@kettlebellsolo.com and I will, on the back end, tell me your email, and on the back end, I will extend your trial to 14 days if you sign up today. Hi, Craig. Can I integrate this into my cycling program and an amateur cyclist? Absolutely. We actually do have, I think one of our students found out about Kettlebell Solo on like a triathlete app or something, or a cycling app, and has really enjoyed it as a way to support that training. So I think it can be great to support cycling, to support triathlon. Really important to build up your strength, both in your lower body, so it strengthens you for cycling, but also your upper body, because sometimes that gets neglected with cycling, and your core. Really want to make sure that you have core strength to ensure that you're not dumping into your lower back and getting a really stiff and tight lower back after cycling. One thing I will note, I am not a cycler by any means, but I like to ride a single speed BMX bike, and after I started doing Kettlebell Solo, I noticed I was so much stronger biking up hills. And again, this is on a single speed, so it's a lot harder. But I had so much more power in my legs from doing solo that it really helped me with just biking up a hill. So I can absolutely testify that it will help you and make you stronger for cycling. Plus, because it's not super intense, I think it's something that could be paired with other training without overdoing it. You know, some strength training programs are pretty intense and will make it hard for you to recover for your cycling workouts. Mark just asked, are all kettlebells the same, or is there anything specific to look for when buying? Great question. So buying a kettlebell can be overwhelming, because if you go type kettlebells to buy online, you're going to just get a bunch of different distributors, and it's really hard to know the difference. Many of them are not that different. They're all very similar. Now, I recommend especially for kettlebell solo, in particular because we use light kettlebells, I recommend a competition style kettlebell. Now I'm going to show you a few different types of kettlebells here. This one is a cast iron. This one is a competition bell. So we'll talk a little bit about the difference between these two to answer your questions, Mark. So this is a cast iron kettlebell. So most kettlebells out there are probably this style. So they're going to be like a gray or black color. They may or may not have these little colored circles around the handle. Most of them are all made in the same factory in China. And what's specific about these is, first of all, their bottom, they're solid cast. Okay, so there's no hole in the bottom. It's just this big hunk of metal. And they change, the size of the bell and the handle change according to the weight. So this is an 8 kg or 18-pound kettlebell, pretty light. As the cast iron kettlebells get heavier, this bell gets bigger and the handle gets bigger and wider. So the good thing about that is, well, you need a bigger handle with a bigger bell. It's probably better. But the bad thing is that with a light kettlebell, it has a very small handle. So if you have large hands, it might be kind of uncomfortable with two hands on the bell, or where you're doing exercise where you're switching hands. And we do both of those quite a lot in kettlebell solo. Now the beauty of a competition kettlebell, which looks more like this, so they're generally going to be colored. The whole bell will usually be colored. The handle is much bigger. This window is much bigger. And the key feature of competition kettlebells, they're all the same dimensions regardless of the weight. So this is an 8 kg, same weight as that other little one, but a 12 kg, a 16 kg, a 28 kg, a 32 kg, they're all the same dimension regardless of weight, and they're hollow cast. So that means that most of the weight is concentrated towards the top of the bell, and then they kind of fill it in as it gets heavier. It makes for a better feel, the hollow cast. Really, like those cast iron ones feel kind of bottom heavy, and this one feels like more balanced, almost like a little bit lighter, even at the same weight. These are much better for exercises where you need two hands on the bell or you're switching, like we do in kettlebell solo. We do a lot of around the body handoffs where you circle the bell around your body. You want to have a big handle. If you buy a regular 10-pound kettlebell or 15-pound kettlebell that's more like this, you can do it. It's just trickier because you don't have as much space on the handle. It might be okay if you have small hands, but if you have large hands, not going to work super well. So that is why we recommend a competition kettlebell for kettlebell solo. Now they are generally more expensive, so you are going to be paying a little more, but I feel like they're more versatile and useful for anything you're going to do with kettlebells than the cast iron. But hey, if this is what's in your budget, you can still absolutely do solo with it. There's also another kettlebell I like to recommend. It's this kettlebell. It's Bionic Body. So it looks kind of like a competition kettlebell, okay? But this handle, it's smooth, which isn't great if you're doing kettlebell sport, but for what we do in solo, it's great. It's got this, which is kind of soft. I don't really care about that so much. What I care about is that it's shaped like a competition kettlebell, but it's way, way cheaper. So you can find this on Amazon. They have 10-pound kettlebells that are that size, so they're similar to competition bells. They're bigger, they have a larger handle, but you're spending a lot less money. So I can drop the links to those kettlebells in the description if you want to check them out. YouTube Punk likes their adjustable competition kettlebell. I wish I had two. Yeah, that's probably nice. You can't do double bell stuff if you only got one, but hey, that's nice. I've never really used adjustables much, so I don't know much about it. Hi, Caleb. Any other questions that you guys have for me on kettlebells, kettlebell training, kettlebell solo in particular? Let me know. I've covered pretty much everything I was going to talk about here. And if you want to check out Kettlebell Solo, as I mentioned before, let me know. Send me an email at info@kettlebellsolo.com when you sign up, and I'll go in the back end. I'll add you an extra 7 days on your trial if you want, so you can do 14 days. If you sign up today, let me know that you are on the YouTube Live. And again, you can do that at, you can sign up for your account at kettlebellsolo.com. And then you can email me info@kettlebellsolo.com, and I'll add you an extra 7 days if you want. How much should you lift kettlebells? Caleb, do you mean how heavy or how often should you lift kettlebells? If you're talking how the frequency, kind of depends on the intensity and how long your workouts are. I generally recommend between 1 to 3 days a week. Again, I prescribe the philosophy of train to live, not live to train. So you really don't need to do more than 3 days a week. As far as how heavy to go, that's really going to depend. I talked about for kettlebell solo style of training I teach. For beginners, I highly recommend using like 5 to 20 pounds, somewhere between there, 10, 15 pounds to start, at least for the first 4 months or so, because a lot of the moves we do are progressive regardless of the weight that you're using. So the weight is just something extra. And if you're doing a different style of kettlebell training, again, I do recommend something, a foundational weight, and sticking with that for quite a long time as you learn the movements. Does solo address body recomposition? Absolutely, you can do body recomposition with kettlebell solo. I think body recomposition is largely based on diet, but I can tell you that my body composition has greatly changed with the combination of less exercise and doing kettlebell solo and increasing my protein. I've seen a huge difference in my body composition specifically, and we have had students that have changes in their body composition and fat loss or weight loss. If that is your goal, you can absolutely do that. You can do that with any style of exercise or weight training. Any other questions? I got 3 minutes left. 3 minutes before I log off. You're welcome. Thanks for asking. Last questions? You're welcome, Elena. Thank you so much for joining and for leaving a comment. I appreciate it. I appreciate you all being here, and I'm taking suggestions for future lives. I have a couple lives coming up. I don't want to tell you what the wrong title for the lives. I just planned them yesterday, but I want to make sure I'm telling you the right title. So I have 2 lives coming up next week. I've got Wednesday at 9 a.m. I'm going to talk about what muscles do kettlebells target, because I had a specific request for that, and I appreciate the request. So we're going to do a live on that. What muscles do kettlebells target? That's going to be next Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. If you can't catch it, there will be a recap. And then on Thursday, so next week Thursday at this same time, 4:30 p.m. Pacific time, we're going to talk about the benefits of kettlebell training. So you're going to want to join for that one as well. And if you have any other suggestions on what you want me to go live on, whether it's kettlebells or something else fitness related, let me know. I would love to hear your suggestions. Oh, Richard, that's awesome to hear that you've been doing my Kettlebells 101 program. I appreciate you chiming in, and I would love to hear how it's going for you. Feel free to shoot me an email. I'd love to hear your thoughts. You're welcome, Steve. Thanks for joining. What's your question? YouTube Punk, I have a question you can ignore if it's been asked. Oh, okay. Go ahead. Ask your question. If somebody's asked it already, I can answer it again. That's okay, because some people maybe missed out on it the first time. Is kettlebell solo like a course or a style? Good question. That's a great question. Well, I would say it's more like a style. So we offer a membership where we teach kettlebell solo. So it's a foundational system of kettlebell training. So it's a style of kettlebell training. Think of it like a foundation that comes before anything else you might do with kettlebells. And it's also a great standalone system on its own. So inside our membership, we offer classes, programs, and challenges that teach you kettlebell solo, the kettlebell solo style. There's specific exercises we do that are unique to kettlebell solo. You're not going to find them in any other kettlebell programs. I've never seen other people doing it. Again, as I mentioned earlier in the live, I didn't create it. My partner Michael created it. He came up with these moves. He's been doing kettlebells for over 20 years. And there's some excellent stuff in here that when I was introduced to it, I was like, why is no one else doing this? This is awesome. Everybody else is doing that other stuff over there. So it is a unique style and system of kettlebell training. Good question. Any other last questions? You guys have been a great audience today. I hope to see everybody back here on Wednesday and Thursday of next week. I would be doing Monday, but I'm going out of town. So normally we'll probably do a live on Monday as well. You're welcome. Thanks for asking. Well, it's 5:30. I'm going to cap it there today. I've been on for an hour. Thank you so much if you've been here with me today. I'll see you at the next live, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week and a great weekend.